Nominating institution, Michigan Technological University, represented by its Associate Professor at the School of Business and Economics, Latha Poonamallee.
Hello, my name is Latha Poonamallee. Along with being an Associate Professor, I'm also the founding director of Center for Social Innovation at Michigan Tech. And the center's mission is to advance the university's strategic mission, which is to use technology and science to build a more just, sustainable, and prosperous world. So social mission is integrated into our school's mission. So I'm very pleased to nominate In-Med Prognostics. It's an Indo-US global company. It's a social enterprise looking at both social as well as technological innovation with business outcomes for profitability and sustainability. So I'm very pleased to invite Mr. Rajesh Purushottam, who's the CEO of In-Med Prognostics, incubated at Michigan Tech Center for Social Innovation. Thank you.
In-Med Prognostics, presented by its CEO and co-founder, Rajesh Purushottam.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for this Falling Wall Venture event, and I really am privileged to be here as I make my presentation. So I start with the whole brain prognostics. That's what our project is on. I'll just take this. Yes, so let's imagine a scenario where we have a patient meeting with an accident, okay, in this case, a traumatic accident. And what the convention is that we go for an MRI. Okay, once that is done, we have a radiologist who kind of gives us the report. So this is what is done conventionally in terms of what happens. Now, there is a possibility when we want to kind of take it to the next level of what we call as differential diagnosis, since we are also aware that in case of a traumatic brain injury, the next 3 months is a good indicator of the further 12 months, which a neurologist would want to kind of really plan the rehabilitation program. So at this stage is where, if we have a series of brain bank images which is available, which takes us to the next level to create what we call as a 3D volumetric analysis. And that's where this comes at this stage, where we look at the brain from a 3-dimensional volumetric analysis. So we have Siemens sitting in the audience, and we are aware of that there's a huge penetration even in emerging markets for imaging. So that's our source of our data. So if I have a standard 2D image, what we do is we convert it into a 3D image to kind of get the visual that you just kind of see. And once that is there, what we do is then we have a big data powered brain imaging bank, followed by a deep learning and the biomarker algorithm. So that's what is going to kind of give this differential diagnosis for a neurologist to take the treatment planning to the next level, and also in terms of the rehabilitation. So if you really look at it, now imagine if this patient was in India. Okay, so now in the case of a traumatic brain injury, we all know that the kind of social burden, the economic burden is pretty high, and that's not available at this point in time. So by having a kind of a bank and having this kind of an analysis, you can kind of see the kind of possibility with which one can kind of make it affordable, because of which you also have a huge data set available. Now, the other end of the traumatic brain injury, which happens at the flash of a moment, you have a case now of a 55-year-old where we are looking at a neurodegenerative state. In case of aging, the cranial volume shrinkage. So there is a need to look at preventive health. We have preventive health for all parts of the body, but when it comes to the brain, this is something which is yet to be seen, even in developed countries, because it's also a mindset. So we are also in the process of creating a social awareness to the entire effect, which in this case can also give us a clear visibility to even predicting Alzheimer's. So dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinsonism, today, it's possible with volumetric analysis to actually get early indicators because of which we can start. So this is what we are trying to do, is to create the kind of design tools that advance preventive brain health and empower families and individuals for proactive brain management. So now look at some of the barriers, what we are looking at. So the current barrier, what we have is an MRI, and from there, we are trying to look at in terms of where we look at the volumetric analysis. Now, the three walls that we want to break in this is the lack of tools, knowledge gaps, and the methodological issues, which is what we are trying to address. So what are we trying to do about it is develop the first of a kind dedicated neurobank, imaging bank in India, which has a baseline data, and then we are looking at replicating to other emerging markets. This next is a panel of experts, both at the US side, India side, and looking at neurologists, biostatisticians, big data scientists to actually help in terms of the biomarkers. We are at an advanced stage in terms of having the first discussions. And of course, augment global efforts with some providers and experts who are already doing this in developed markets, like Cortec Labs and CyberSam in Spain. And finally, socializing the market, including all stakeholders towards preventive brain health. And we have seen big providers like Arvind Eye Hospital who have shown us the way for where we have 1/3 paying for 2/3, where 1/3 patients who pay for 2/3 of the patients at cost or below cost. So finally, our innovation is also the way we are structured this business, which is business, technology, and social. So technology, we have new tools, volumetric data. Social, we have the socializing, preventive side. And finally, the business model, which is 2/3 at below cost and 1/3 through data sharing with pharma companies and the checkups. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rajesh. Questions, please. Yes, please.
What is your business model?
Yeah, the business model, this being a low profit L3C venture, which means low profit social innovation. So we are looking at the 1/3 where we are looking at big data, reaching out to the companies, and also the executive health checkups, which are going to be happening where we are going to be charging the patients, and the remaining part of them who are going to be serviced at below cost. So in a way, 2/3 is where we are going to kind of be serving, and 1/3 is going to help us generate our revenues.
More questions? Yes, you have more.
Only one comment here.
Yeah.
I would never say low margin. If you have low margin, say nothing, but never say low margin to investors.
Okay, sorry.
I think a lot of people are going to hunt you down later. You're going to give millions of euros and then a lot of good advices. More questions? Which means they understood everything you said. And thank you very much again.
Thank you
and
very
good luck
much.
for your startup.
Thank you.